Act 5, Scene 1.
Is she to be buried in a Christian burial when she willfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee she is, therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat on her and finds it Christian burial.
Well, how can that be unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
But 'tis found so.
It must be so offendelo. It cannot be else, for here lies the point. If I drown myself willingly, it argues an act. And an act hath three branches. It is to act, to do, to perform. Argyle, she drowned herself willingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man, Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to this water and drown himself in it, will he nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water comes to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argyle, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life.
But is this the law?
Yeah, marry it is. Coroner's quest law.
You have the truth on it. If this had not been a gentlewoman, she would have been buried out of the Christian burial.
Well, why that thou sayest, and the more pity that great folk should have the countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. There's no ancient gentlemen but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why? He had none.
What? Am I a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is that built stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
The gallows maker. For that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Not thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. The gallows may do well to thee. Again, do it again, come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that and unyoke.
Mary, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend this pace with beating. And when you are asked this question next, say, a grave maker. The houses that he makes last till doomsday. Get thee in. Fetch me a stoup of liquor. Oh, in youth, when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract all the time for my behove. Oh, methought there was nothing amiss.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business? He sings at grave making.
Custom hath made him in a property of easiness.
Yeah, 'tis ain't so. The hand of little employment hath the daintiest sense.
But age with his stealing steps hath crawled me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land as if I'd never been such.
Yeah, that skull had a tongue in it and could sing once, Horatio. And now the knave jaws it to the ground as if it were Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. It might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now overreaches one that would circumvent God. Might it not?
It might, my lord.
Or of a courtier, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, good lord? This might be the lord such a one that praised my lord such a one's horse when he meant to beg it. Might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, and so? And now my lady Worms, chapless and knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's a fine revolution. And we have the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more of the breeding but to play at loggets with them? Mine ache to think on it.
Pickaxe and a spade, and for the shrouding sheet, oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet.
There's another. Why, may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now? His quilities, or his cases, or his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude name now to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? Well, this fellow might be in times a great buyer of land, with his statues, his recognizes, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of the fines and the recovery of his recoveries? To have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Well, his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures. The very conveyances of his lands will hardly lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more room.
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is that parchment made of sheepskin?
Aye, my lord, and of calfskins too.
Now, they are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in them. I will speak to this fella. Whose grave is this, sire?
Mine, sir. Of a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie on it, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou liest in it, to be in it, and say it is thine. Well, 'tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore, thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. So away gain from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
And what woman, sir?
For none neither.
And who is to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I have taken a note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he gouts his kipe. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days of the year, I came to that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
I gotta tell you that. Every fool can tell that. I was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England.
Aye, Mary. Why was he sent to England?
Why? Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, there's no great matter there.
Why?
It is not to be seen in him there. There, the men are mad as he.
And how came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, in with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark, I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
Well, how long will a man lie in the earth, before he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocket courses nowadays, that will scarce hold laying in. He will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year.
And why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with the trade that he will keep out water a great while. And your water is the sore the care of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull has lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A horse and mad fellow it was. Whose you think it was?
I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. The same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
Yes?
And that.
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I know him, Horatio. Oh, is a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He had borne me on his back 1,000 times, Horatio, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises in it. Here hung those lips I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your gibes now? Or your gambols? Or your songs? Or your flashes of merriment that wont to set the table or the roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chapfelling. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her. Let her paint an inch thick to this favor that she must come. Make her laugh at that. I prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander look all this fashion in the earth?
Even so.
And smelt so? Pah!
Even so, my lord.
To what basest uses we may turn, Horatio. Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping in a bug hole?
Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot. But to follow him thither with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it as thus. Alexander died, Alexander was buried, and Alexander returneth to dust. The dust is earth, and of earth we make a loam. And why of that loam whereto he was converted, might they not stop a beer barrel? And the imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay. He might stop a hole to keep the wind away, or that earth, which kept the world in awe, should patch a wall, expel the winter's flaw. Soft a while. Here comes the king, and the queen, and the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites. This doth betoken the course they followed did with desperate hand foredo its own life. It was of some estate. Couch we a while and mark.
What ceremony else?
That is Laertes, a very noble youth, Mark.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far and large as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful, and but that great commando sways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet. For charitable prayers, shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed in her virgin krantz, and the bringing home of bell and burial.
Must there no more be done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem, and such rest to her as to peace parted souls.
Lay in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I'll tell thee, churlish priest. A minstrelling angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweet to the sweet, farewell. I hoped I should have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to the deck, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave.
O terrible woe, fail 10 times terrible on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth a while till I have caught her once more in my arms. Oh, thou pile your dust upon the quick and dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made, to o'ertop old Pelion on the skyish head of blue Olympus.
Who is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? Whose phase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wonder-wounded heroes? This is I, Hamlet, the Dane.
The devil take thy soul.
Thou prayest not well. I prithee, take thy fingers from my throat. For though I am not splendid and rash, yet have I something in me dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear. You hold off thy hand.
Pluck them asunder.
Hamlet! Hamlet!
Gentlemen, good my lord, be quiet.
I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer sag.
Oh, my son, what theme?
That I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not with all their quantity of love make up my son. What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For the love of God, forbear him.
For swoons! Show me what thou wilt do. Would weep? Would you fight? Would tear thyself? Would drink a bison? Would thou eat a crocodile? Because I'll do it. Dost thou come here to wind, to outface me with leaping in her grave, and be buried quick with her? And so will I. And if thou prate of mountains, then let them throw millions of acres until our ground, singling his pate against the burning zone, make us like a wart. Nay, and thou'lt mouth it, I will rant as well as thou.
This is mere madness, and thus a while the fit will work on him. Anon, as patient as a female dove, when not her golden couplets are disclosed, her silence will sit drooping.
Hear ye, sir, what is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you, ever. It is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he say. The cat will moo, and the dog will have his day.
I pray thee, good Horatio, wait upon him. Strengthen your patience in our last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Till then, in patience, our proceeding be. Act 5, Scene 2.
So much for this, sir. Now shall you see the other. You do remember all the circumstance.
Remember it, my lord?
Sir, in my heart, there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. And methought I lay worse than the mutines of the bilboes. And rashly, and praise be rashness for it, let us know our indiscretion sometimes serves us well when our deep plots do pall. And that should teach us that there's a divinity that shapes our ends, and rough hew them how we will.
That is most certain.
I up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed around me, and in the dark groped I to find out them, and had my desire fingered at their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold my fears forgotten manners to unseal their grand commission, where I found Horatio, royal knavery, an exact command, lauded with many several sorts of reasons, importing Denmark's health and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life that on the supervisor no leisure bade it, no, not to stay the grinding of the axe, that my head should be struck off.
Is it possible?
Here's the commission. Read it at your leisure. But wilt thou hear how I did proceed?
I beseech you.
Being thus benetted round with villainies, ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, and I devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as our status do, a baseness to write fair, and labored much how to forget that learning. But sir, now it did me yield and service. Will thou know the effect of what I wrote?
Aye, my good lord.
An earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm might flourish, as peace would stiff her wheaten garland wear, and stand a comma tween their amenities, and many such like as of great charge, that on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, that we should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed.
How was this sealed?
Why, even in that was heaven ordinate. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of the Danish seal, folded the writ up in the form of the other, scribed it, gave the impression, placed it safely in the changeling never known. Now, the next day was our sea flight, and what to this was sequent thou knowest already.
So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to it.
Why, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell incest points of mighty opposites.
Why, what a king is this?
Does it not think thee stand me now upon he hath killed my king and wooed my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage? Is it not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm? And is it not to be damned to let this canker of our nature come in further evil?
It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there.
Oh, it will be short, and the interim is mine. And a man's life no more than to say one. But I am very sorry, Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I can see the portrait of his. I'll court his favors. But sure the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace. Who comes here?
Your lordship is right welcome back to Denmark.
Well, I humbly thank you, sir. Dost thou know this waterfly?
No, my good lord.
Thy state is more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land and fertile. Well, let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand at the king's mess. 'Tis a chough, but as I say, spacious in the possession of dirt.
Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it, sir, with all the diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right ears, and 'tis for the head.
Thank you, lordship. It is very hot.
No, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
But yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. Very sultry as 'twere. I cannot tell you how, my lord. His Majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid the greatest wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter.
I beseech you, remember.
My goodness, my lord, for mine ease, in good faith, sir, here is newly come to court Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society, and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry, or you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see.
Sir, his defilement suffers no perdition in you, though I know to divide him inventorily would dizzy the arithmetic of memory, and yet but yaw neither, in respect of his quick sale. But in the verity of extolment, I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as, to make true diction of him, his semblance is his mirror. And who else would trace it? His umbrage. Nothing more.
Your lordship speaks most infallibly of him.
Well, what's the consonary, sir? Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more rarer breath?
Sir?
Is it not possible to understand in another tongue? You will do it, sir, really.
What imports the nomination of this gentleman?
Of Laertes?
His purse is empty already. All his golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you are not ignorant.
I would you did, sir. Yet in faith, if you did, it would not much prove me. Well, sir?
You are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is.
I dare not confess that lest I should compare with him in excellence. But to know a man well, or to know himself.
I mean, sir, for his weapon, but in the imputation laid on him by them, in his need, he's unfellowed.
Well, what's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
Well, that's two of his weapons. But well,
The king, sir, has wagered with him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has impawned, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poignards with their signs, as girdles, hangers, and so on. 3 of the carriages, in faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriages, and of very liberal conceit.
what call you the carriages?
I knew you must be edified by the margin ere you had done.
The carriages, sir, are the hangers.
The phrase would be more germane to the matter if we would carry cannon by our sides. I would it might be hangers till then. But on 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, their signs, and 3 liberal conceited carriages? That's the French bet against the Danish. Why is this important, as you call it?
The king, sir, hath laid that in a dozen passes between yourself and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He has laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
Now if I answer no.
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Well, sir, I will walk here in the hall, if it pleases his majesty, till the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought. The gentleman willing and the king hold his purpose, I will win for him. And I can. And if not, I will gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I re-deliver you even so?
To this effect, sir, after what you flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours. He does well to commend it himself. There are no other tongues else for terms.
This lapwing runs away with the shell on his head.
Either comply, sir, what is dug before he sucked it. Thus has he, and many more of the same bevy, that I know the drossy age dotes on. Only got the tune of the time and outward habit of encounter. It's a kind of yeasty collection, which carries them through and through the most fond and winnowed opinions, and do not blow them to their tribe, because the bubbles are out.
My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure hold to play with Laertes, or that you will take longer time.
I am constant to my purpose. They follow the king's pleasure. If his fitness speak, then mine is ready. Now or whenever, provided I be so able as now.
The king and queen and all are coming down.
Happy time.
The queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play.
She well instructs me.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not think how ill all's here about my heart. It's no matter.
Nay, good, my lord.
No, it is but foolery. But it is such a kind of gain given as it would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind dislike anything, obey it. I will forestall their repair hither and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man aught he leaves knows, what is to leave betimes? Let be.
Come, Hamlet, come, and take this hand from me.
Oh, give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong. But pardon, as you are a gentleman, this presence knows, and you must needs have heard how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done, that might your nature honor and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim, was madness. Was it Hamlet that wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away, and when he's not himself does wrong, Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then is madness. And if it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot mine arrow o'er this house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge. But in terms of my honour, I stand aloof, and will know reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honour I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungawed. But till that time, I do receive your offered love, like love, and will not wrong it.
I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Give us the foils. Come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall, like the star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No, by the hand.
Give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager?
Oh, very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds on the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I have seen you both, but since he is better, we have therefore odds.
This is too heavy. Let me see another.
This likes me well. These foils have all the length.
Aye, my good lord.
Set me the stoops of wine upon the table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup in union shall he throw richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak. The trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens to earth. Now the king dunks to Hamlet. Come, begin, and you, the judges, bear a wary eye.
Come on, sir.
Come, my lord.
Ha ha! One!
No.
Judgment!
A hit, a very palpable hit.
Well, again.
Stay, give me drink. Hamlet, the pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play the bell first. You sit fire for a while. I'll come. Another hit. What say you?
A touch, I do confess it.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Madam?
Gertrude, do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
I dare not drink now, madam. By and by.
Come, let me wipe thy face. My lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think on it.
And yet 'tis almost against my conscience.
Come for the third, Laertes. You do but early. I pray you, pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me.
Say you so?
Nothing night away.
Part them. They are incensed.
Nay, come again.
I look to the queen there, ho.
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord?
How is it, Laertes?
Why, as a woodcook to mine own springe, Orsic, I am justly killed with mine own treachery.
How does the queen?
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, the drink. The drink. My dear Hamlet, the drink. The drink, I'm poisoned.
Villainy. Oh, let the door be locked. This treachery. Seek it out.
It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there is not a half hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unabated and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king's to blame.
The point envenomed too. With envenom to thy work.
Treason! Treason!
Oh, yet defend me, friends. I am but hurt.
Here, thou incestuous, murderous dad and dame. Drink off this portion. Is thy union here? Here, follow my mother.
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Heaven make thee free of it, and I will follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. wretched creature, you that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but mutes and audience to the sack, had I but time as this fell death is strict in his arrest, I could tell you, let it be, Horatio, I am dead, and thou livest. This report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane.
As thou art a man,
Here's some liquor left.
give me the cup. Let it go. By heaven, I'll have it. God, Horatio, what a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world, draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. What warlike noise is this?
Some Fortinbras with conquest comes from Poland. The ambassador of England gives his warlike volley.
I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite overcrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England. I who prophesied the election lights on Fortinbras. You have my dying voice, so tell him with the occurrence more and less, and which have solicited, tell that the rest is silence.
Thou cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither?
Where is this sight?
What is it you would see? If aught of woe or wonder, cease your search.
This query cries on havoc, O proud death. What beast is toward in thine eternal cell, that though so many princes at the shot, so bloodily hast struck?
The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us a hearing to tell him his commandment is fulfilled. The Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we have our thanks?
Not from his mouth. Had it the ability of life to thank you. He never gave commandment for their death, but since so jump upon this bloody question, you from the Polack wars and you from England are here arrived, give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view, and let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, accidental judgments, casual slaughters, and of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause. And in this upshot, purposes mistook fall on the inventors' heads. All this I can truly deliver.
Let us haste to hear it, and call the nobles to the audience. For me, with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me.
Of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth whose voice will draw on more. But let this same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild, lest more mischance on plots and errors happen.
Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal, and for his passage, the soldiers' music and the rites of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies. Such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldiers shoot.
This reading featured the voice talents of Frank Reeves, Andy DeVoley, Sarah Lynn Dawson, Therese Turliat, Emmanuel Todorov, and William Jackson.